Okay, here we go with the rears. The rears are already out. Very, very simple. Not very complicated at all. Beauty because these are no longer on all the older Accords. They're the mounts are on top. Here now mounts are from the inside. From the inside of the wheel well. Very, very accessible. No issue at all. It is a separated setup. They started doing a lot of the separated setups back with the 8th gen Civics. 8th gen, 9th gen Civic is a separated setup. The Honda in general. Some of the trucks, obviously, Acti is a separated setup because it has a not a twist beam, but it has a leaf spring in the back because it's a truck. So the Acti stuff was separated. They didn't start doing the separated setup on the Accords till they got to the 10th gen, I believe. 10th, 11th gen, they're both separated, which is what this is. This is a 10th gen Accord. 11th gen Accord, I think it might be a little bit different. I don't remember. I don't think so. I don't know. I haven't worked on one yet. I believe 10th and 11th is the same, to be honest with you, actually. My bad. Anyways, so the rear is very, very simple. Remove the sway bar end link, which is over there. Remove the lower control arm that will allow you to, basically, this is under stress, so you want to make sure that you have a support stand underneath it because you don't want to get hit. Not too much stress. This one wasn't under too much stress because it is an aftermarket iBox setup that we're removing, so the springs are already shortened, but the factory one is under some stress, so make sure you put something underneath to support this because you don't want that to fly down and hurt you. So, make sure that you guys follow safety guidelines when you're working on your own car. Please do not use this as a be-all end-all on how to do an installation. These are just some suggestions that I'm doing here for you guys, and all my videos are pretty much suggestions. Do not take them literally as what you're supposed to be doing. But anyways, so this is separated setup. Remove the spring. That gives you access to the cup, and then it gives you the upper tit. I call these are called the tits, upper tit and lower cup. So this gives you a perfect place to be able to mount up a bag, which is a separated bag. We have a bag ready for this. The shock sits on here, and it has a bolt, I believe a 19 mil that goes through it. And then it goes all the way up to here, and it mounts with two 12 mils. I believe, 12 mils on top here, and that's pretty much it for the rear setup. So it's a very easy car to do any kind of suspension on. It's a very easy car to lower using lowering springs. It's a very easy car to do coilovers, bags. Honda is probably amazing to bag. That's why so many out there, especially in New Jersey, New York, there's so many bagged Hondas and stuff. So Canada, not as much. Probably we're about 10% of what we get in the States of guys, enthusiasts that are bagging these cars. Canada's always kind of been a little bit behind. Everyone's sort of on the coilover flow. I mean, we're slowly getting into bags, but not to the point how America is. But anyway, so these are the rears. We're going to put in the bag, mount it up. I'm going to put in the performance shocks. Obviously, we're going to put NTCs in them. So the factory OEM shocks are so long. You got to reuse the upper mount on the new stuff. So I'm going to grab the rears now. I'm going to loop them up with NTC, especially on the lower mount. And we'll put them in. We'll put in the bag. And that's pretty much the fronts are done. The rears are done, are going to be done. And then we're going to run the lines. I'll show you guys how I run the lines on these cars. Stay tuned. Okay, so we looped it all up, the lower mount. I try to get it as close as possible, usually within about 2 inches of the factory shock height. You don't want to have them too extended, just enough. This is probably as far as I'm gonna go. You reuse the upper mounts from a lot of these setups. So there's like a little cap. Remove the upper mount. Remove the there's the boot, not the boot, but the bump stop that's inside there. Remove the cover, the rubber cover. You don't require that. And the performance shocks themselves do have bolts and a mount, and then all the dampness is adjusted there. So it's pretty straightforward putting them in. in the location of where the factory is. You put the cap on top, and that's it for the rears. Not very complicated at all. Right, so the fronts are all in. I didn't really capture a video on how to put them in, but pretty much the installation is the reversal of the removal. The rears are in as well too. Very simple. The bag goes in, direct fit bag. Running the lines behind here. The shocks go up here, and then they mount up to the top here. We're using the factory upper mounts, of course, and very easy to put in a simple rear separated setup. So it's not very, very complicated. Plenty of space here. Don't have to worry about any kind of fitment issues whatsoever. Separated setup for this car is actually wonderful because that way it gives you an ability to use really, really wide wheels in the back and have a lot of camber. You would need to upgrade, obviously, the lower, control arm in order for you to be able to have more camber. But that's probably not in the works for Steven, because he's just kind of going with a clean VIP setup. Maybe in the future. He's future proof as well. We can definitely get it done. And his system and suspension is definitely upgradable. So running the lines, very simple. Just like majority of vehicles. This one's already done. Actually, I put it away. But the same idea. I like to run my lines through the vents. And the reason why I like to run my lines through the vents is I don't like to run them through the interior for the purpose of, for example, resale. This vehicle is a 2022, I believe. It's a fresh, spanking new car. Definitely it's easier to run it through the vents and through the exterior and then remove it without any sort of removal of interior panels. And that way it keeps everything minty fresh. So there's vents on both sides. You guys can probably see it over here. Run the lines through there. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to focus on this side because I still haven't ran the rear lines for the rear on that other side, but I have over here. So as you protrude over, obviously it goes through here, zip tied through. So we're gonna kind of zip tie it a little bit more here as well too, so it's away from the exhaust. But essentially what happens is it goes through. One of the lines goes through and goes into the bag over here, so it's super simple. The other one, you can probably not be able to see it because I hit it so well, but it kind of goes right above the subframe, right there. There you go. You can kind of peek it. And then it goes through the covers or underneath the covers, which is beautiful for these cars. And then as you guys can see, in the center over here, you guys have complete sort of panels. So I ran one of the lines through here. I'm going to zip, I haven't had a chance to zip tie it yet, but I'm going to zip tie it to these supply lines. Another one goes through here. So it's super simple to bag this car because of the lower panels. And like I mentioned, a majority of newer vehicles, they're all covered nicely with panels. So it makes it really easy to run the lines without having to go through side skirts and various things like that. So it's super simple to bag it. Goes all the way through, and then it protrudes. I can actually probably follow it through the lift. Protrudes through. Let me see if I can capture it from here. Protrudes through behind the lines here. I can barely actually see it, but I hit it behind here. Again, a lot of nice panels. They can hide it through, and then it comes out over there. There you go. Comes out over there. And it connects into the ladder line, and then the ladder line connects into the shock. So, into the strut, air strut. And, the ladder line is elevated above the shaft. Obviously, you don't want it to hang on the shaft because it will chife off. So it definitely needs to be elevated up. And we're going to check to see whether it has any kind of binding when the car will be on. When I'll finally turn it on, I'll turn left and right in order to double check like we did on our previous video when we installed Kaza's stuff. I kind of demonstrated you guys one of the tricks that I do when I do installations is to kind of see how the lines will move sort of in motion as the car turns left and right. Obviously, we're going to go for a test drive to double check everything, but super simple to bag the car. To run the lines because of the fact that you can hide a lot of the lines underneath the panels. Obviously, you do need to elevate the car if you're going to be doing it like that, if you're going to be running it here. One of the advantages of running the lines in the interior is you don't need to go under the car. So there's trade-offs, obviously, but super simple to run the lines on this car, to the rears and to the front struts.